Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We've got one for you today. We had a request that somebody wanted to have an image swap on button click. So I've got an image here. When I click on it, it's going to flip to another image. When I click on it again, it's going to flip back. And I added a little hover effect there for a click here, just to let people know there's a cursor event happening there that shows the people that they can click on it. I just added that for a bit of extra there. We've got to do a bit of CSS and a bit of JavaScript for this today, but don't let that put you off. Any code that I write I'll put below the video and you're welcome to use it. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder so we can build on the front end. Okay, well I've got a little section here, the blue tab. I've got a couple of rows, the green tab. I'm working on the second row here. I've got two columns in there, 1 and 2. In the second one, I'm going to add a code module to do this today. So I'm going to left click on the little dark button to add a module. Divi comes as standard with all these modules. If you've got WooCommerce installed, it'll give you an extra dozen also. So I want a code module. There it is. Left click. Okay, well the first thing that we want is to find the image that we want to display there. So let's go to our library, our media library. So go to your dashboard, down to media, and just drag whatever image you want up here. So whichever image you want to display initially, click on it. And here you'll find the file URL. Copy this URL to your clipboard, or you can select it however you like to copy. Control C. Now we can get out of here and let's go back to our code module. I'm going to write a little bit of HTML. So it's pointy bracket, the word img for image, then the source src equals. I'm going to open some inverted commas there, and inside I'm going to paste the URL of that image that I just copied. And I'm going to close it with a right bracket there. And as you can see, it's turned up down below there. Okay, that's the image that we want to see initially, and then we want to be able to click on this and flip to another image. So to enable us to click on it and manipulate it the way we want, we've got to add a function. So we'll say onClick equals, we'll open some more inverted commas there, and I'm going to say my function, lowercase my, capital F function, and then open some round brackets right at the end of there with no gap. And we'll create the actual function that we want to use with this in a moment. Now I want my function to affect the style, the opacity, so we can flip from this image to the image that's going to be behind it in the column that it's sitting in. So to do that, let's drop down and we'll create a style. So again, left pointy bracket, style, right pointy bracket. As soon as you put the right one in, it'll put a closing style tag in for you, and we can create the style that we want. So I'm going to call my style imsw for image swap. Now all styles have to have a dot or a period in front of them, so it's dot imsw, and that's kind of my shorthand for image swap. You can call yours what you want, but it wants to be unique and it wants to mean something to you. Okay, well let's open and close some curly brackets now, and we can write the style that we want in there. So I'm just going to say opacity 0, because I want it to start off invisible when we click on it. Okay, so now we've got a style and it's got a class name. We can add our bit of script or create our function to make this all happen. So let's just tidy this up, get rid of that gap there, and down below the style I'm going to create the script now, and it's the same thing. So it's left pointy bracket, the word script, and right pointy bracket. And again, it'll put a closing script tag in there for you. And we're going to call this my function. We've given it a name up here. So we've got to say function. We're going to say my function, which was the name we gave it up above. Now we can open some more curly brackets, and we can tell it what we actually want this function to do. We want to get it by its ID name, and we'll give it an ID in a moment. So we're going to say variation element, and that's going to equal document. get element by ID. And what is the actual ID? Well, we'll have to create one in a moment, but we'll give this little module an ID of, I'm going to call mine, let's open some inverted commas, I'm going to call mine image capital S for image swap. Call yours what you want, and again it just wants to make some sense to you. Now we want to make this toggle on and off, so let's add a semicolon after that, and we're going to say element class list dot class list, and we want it to toggle. We want it to toggle that style class that we created, IMSW, and that's going to toggle it from invisible to visible and vice versa. So let's open some inverted commas and give it that name, IMSW. Okay, and while we're here, let's go ahead and give it the ID, and the ID we chose was image capital S. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go over to the Advanced tab. I'm going to go to CSS IDs and classes. Here we've got CSS ID. Make sure you put it in here, not in the class. You want it to be an ID. Great. Well, let's give it something to switch to now. So I'm going to save my code settings. And let's go into the actual column. So we're going to go into the row, the green tab. We're on column 2 here. Column 1, column 2. Let's give it the background image we want it to swap to. These will work best if you have images of the same aspect ratio. Mine are close, but I don't think they're identical. So you've got color, gradient, image or video. I've clicked on the image. I'm going to add my image. And let's add that one. So that's going to be in the background. That is now in the column behind this actual picture here. So let's save this and see if it's going to work. Save the page changes, little purple button down here. And exit the Visual Builder. And let's go down. And that's not actually working. So let's enable the Visual Builder again and debug and see if we can figure out what's going on. So let's go back in there. Let's have a quick look through. I think it looks okay there. I've got a spelling mistake right there. Class list. I spelt wrong. So LA. That should sort that out. If you spell things wrong with code, things will not work. So that should make everything work now. Let's save that again. Save the page changes. And exit the Visual Builder. Now if we go on down, there we go, that's working fine now. It's doing exactly what we want it to do. Now if that's all you wanted to do, you can stop right there. But I thought it'd be nice to add a little hover effect with a click here. And perhaps a cursor so the button changes to a grabber like that, or a pointer I should say. So let's do that. Let's enable the Visual Builder. And this is where a bit more CSS code comes in. So I'm going to go into our module again. This time I'm going to go over to the Advanced, to Custom CSS. In the Before box, you can do this in the Before or the After. It won't make much difference. I'm going to say Content. And I just wanted to say click here. So let's open some inverted commas. I'm going to say click or click me, whatever you want it to say. So it's actually added it up the top there. We'll position it now. So let's put a semicolon in there. And we'll say position, absolute. Now where do I want it? I actually want mine down the bottom. So I'm going to say top 90%, so like 90% down from the top, and I want it halfway across, so I'm going to say left 50%. Now I can't see anything. I should be able to see something, so it may be hidden. Let's give it a Z index to bring it forward, so I'll say Z index, and this brings it forward or backwards, and let's start chucking a few 9s in there till we can see something. There it is, up at the top there. Click me. Okay. Let's put a percentage in there and get it down to the bottom. Now we'll put a percentage in there as well. As you can see, it's right at the bottom there, and now it's in the middle. I need to translate it a bit to just bring it back slightly. I've got to translate it by half of its width and half of its height. So I'm going to say transform translate. Translate. Open some round brackets. I'm going to say negative 50%. Comma, negative 50%. That should drag it right into the middle where we want it. Perfect. Can't really see it very well. So let's give it a colour. I want to make mine white, which is hexadecimal hashtag FFF. There we go. And I want to make it maybe a little bit bigger. So let's say font size. You can give it a font family if you want to make it a different font. So we're going to say font size. I'll make mine say 20 pixels. There we go. But I really only want to see it when they hover over it, so it doesn't take away too much from the image. So I'll swap that around in a moment. I also want them to be able to click the image behind it. So I'm going to say pointer dash events none. That way I'll be able to click through that text and click through the picture. And I want to change it to a cursor pointer when we're on there. So I'm just going to say in the main element, not the before this time, I'm going to say cursor, and we want it to be a pointer. And we're putting this in the main element, not the before, so anytime they hover over it, it'll change to a pointer. Okay. Now the only other thing I want to do is make that invisible now until they hover over it. So again, I'm going to say opacity, transparency or see-throughness 0, and it should disappear. There we go. And when we hover over, I want to bring it back, and common to most Divi modules. If you hover over the dark writing there, hit the little arrow, desktop, and hover. For the hover state, I'm going to click on the hover. I'm going to bring it back and say opacity 1, which is fully visible. So when they hover over, they'll see that. When they're not, they'll just see the regular image. Great. Now I just want to slow it down the time it takes to go from hover to desktop, so we've got a bit of a fade in. Do that with a bit of transition duration. Dash duration. I'm going to give mine, say 0.8 of a second there. And hopefully we should be good to go. And don't forget, I'll put all this code down below for anybody that just wants to copy and paste it. Let's save this now. We'll save our page changes. And let's exit the Visual Builder. Let's go down. There's our initial picture. There's our click me when we hover over it. And it's our cursor's changed to a little click icon there. And you can click through there because we've got no pointer events on that, and click anywhere on the picture. And it's going to turn into the other picture for us. When we click again, it's going to turn back. So there you go, guys. There's how to have an image swap on click. And we've just added a little hover effect there to let them know that they can click on it. So I hope that's answered the question that was out there. That's a nice little feature to have on your site. Not too difficult to do. So there's how to click an image and have it swap. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.